Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are recapping the Hannah Swensen Mystery, the newest one, A Zest for Death. So you know that your hosts today are going to be Kari and Ann. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Kari. I'm so glad to be back podcasting
I'm,
with you.
thanks. Me too.
It's been a long time. Well, I guess since the last Hannah Swensen, was
Absolutely.
May, I think.
Yeah,
So it feels good to get to do it again. So
I know because one, it gives us time together, which I love. And two, we're just big fans, big Hannah Swensen fans. And so it's just like when they were coming out with this, first of all, the poster I thought was awesome.
yeah, it was. It was definitely different. Yeah,
Totally different, totally like dramatic and
very
um,
edgy.
edgy, which they needed to have that like something intriguing because the last time, or the last movie
Our
broke my
hearts
heart.
broke. They stomped on our hearts.
Broke my heart. So what did you think going into this movie?
I remember at the end of last time, I remember saying, Hallmark, don't you dare pretend like nothing happened because
Yeah,
you've made this big deal. I'm like, don't you dare just try to, just push it under the rug and make it seem like nothing happened.
yeah.
Hallmark, good job.
Good job.
You did
Good
a good job.
job.
You did not pretend like nothing happened.
No,
You also didn't make it like way over the top dramatic.
no.
I wish we knew because I don't know. Maybe you know. I don't know how many months have passed like in Hannah Swensen Town since the last movie. It seemed like it must have been a couple months, but I don't
Yeah,
know how
good
long.
question.
So I wish I knew
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it
But
might not have been that long because but I think it was a couple months. I
yeah,
think
I
it
think
was,
two
I
or
think
three
you're
months.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Don't
Um,
you remember the last time being like almost feeling like it was fall, but it was spring, and this time it was spring, but it's like fall in real life. It just kind of felt a little flip.
oh, okay, yeah.
So sorry, what were you going to say about the
Yeah, no, I think that they did good. They didn't do it too light. They didn't do it over the top dramatic, like make them just never see each other the whole movie and just so angry and blah blah. So I think they treaded a really nice
Yeah,
middle, like acceptable, like good ground.
yes.
And yeah, I was like, wow, I'm proud of them for like, doing something that was unexpected, but then like, just, I guess transitioning
Yeah.
to hopefully a better future for these two. So yeah.
Absolutely. It made me they kind of made Hannah a little vulnerable. She admitted that she missed him. She went to like do certain things, to well, we'll talk about that in a sec, but they made her vulnerable, which actually softened me to her because the last time I was like, Hannah, do not.
Yeah.
This guy is awesome for you. There's nothing with Norman. He has a girlfriend, all
Yeah.
of this. So that's another thing I appreciated Hallmark or the writers did well is that they didn't even tease Norman this movie.
Yes, he was just MIA, gone, and I was like, that's a good thing.
That was good.
Enough love triangle blow ups going on. Like, just let's have an MIA Norman and just not have to think about him because we need these two to be like okay. So
I know. I know. I totally thought that too. Okay, so I think I agree with you. They walked a really good line. They acknowledged it,
hmm
but like it went forward believably.
yeah,
In my
exactly.
opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It went forward believably. Like they did have like some apologies and like some conversation about it. So
Yes.
I thought they handled it really well.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Well, I mean, let's just keep talking about that a little bit then. Um, they they were very sweet together, but you could tell that they had spent some time apart. Like
hmm
you said, he was giving her space, and then they started working on this thing together, this crime, and so it kind of just felt like a natural kind of back to the basics again for them, kind of naturally.
Yeah, how they usually or how they first interacted and how they
Yeah.
always interact. for sure they always interact that way, plus, dates and other things that they were doing. But this
Yeah.
is like how they always interact. So that made sense
Yes.
for that to bring them together. So
Yeah. And even still, there was some really sweet, like kind of hot little tension between them whenever they got like
uh,
close.
I know I'm telling you, soap actors, they really know how to do, I feel like, the chemistry or those, close scenes like that, because, they
Hmm.
do a lot more of that than, in a regular, like, Hallmark movie. And so I feel like, because these are both soap, legends, that, they
Yeah.
really do that well. Yeah.
Yes. So never fear, never fear. We still feel the tension. We still get the romantic kind of underlying storyline, even as the mystery goes on, even as the engagement is called off, or the ring at least was given back and
Mhm.
time has been given, there still is that they were cute together.
They
They were
were.
sweet. Really,
Were.
really
They
cute
were
together.
sweet, and yeah, they gave us some little, little things in there for some moments between them, or moments where they thought about each other and told someone else, or
Right.
whatever. And so I think that, yeah, I felt
Yeah,
that.
me too. Me too. Well, one other thing before we jump into the whole mystery recap of it all, one other thing, I want to applaud the producers, and I know Allison Sweeney is one of the producers, but okay, they make these baked goods look delicious. They
Yeah.
look they look like they taste delicious,
Yes, I
right?
really wanted some of that lemon pie. That looks so good.
The lemon meringue pie, and there's nothing worse to me. It's a total pet peeve of mine in like Hallmark movies, especially Christmas movies with cookies and everything. Like
Yeah.
when you bite into a rock hard cookie and you're just like, oh, raving over this cookie. I'm like, no, it's not a good cookie.
Yeah, and it looks like hard and plasticky. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, just for the genuine kind of the quality of this whole series, her being the famous baker, the best baker in Lake Eden. Good job, producers, for making these baked goods actually look like they taste delicious. A soft cookie to bite into, just like a delicious
Mhm.
donut and scone to pass around.
I
Like,
mean, she always has so many different things, and they always give her, a baking sequence, and it just always looks great, and it looks
yes,
like, she's really baking, and all this
yes.
stuff always looks so good. Like, oh my gosh, I wish I had like some of that right now. Yeah.
I do too. Every single one of these things, one of these baked goods in the movie this time, I was like noticing them. And obviously you notice when someone bites into something. So
Oh,
good job. I appreciate that as a viewer, especially for this series. She's
yeah.
so
Because exactly, it's like all around, like, people coming to her bakery, and, her
yeah,
baking, so it's like it needs to be done
yeah.
well. They really do make it look good.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
All right. Well, let's talk about A Zest for Death. I sometimes, as you know, the mystery is like, just like, oh, it's fine. It's like the B side of the movie to me, you know, and the relationships. I want the romance, I want the relationships, I want the family dynamics and all the fun stuff. But this time I was really intrigued with this mystery. I thought it was a great mystery.
I thought it was too. I thought they did really good. I was really guessing, like, okay, who is the person?
Yes.
I kept thinking, okay, is it this person? Is it this person? And then I didn't realize it until right before Hannah realized it. She hadn't said anything, but she knew. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, you know, I was going with the twists and turns here.
Mhm. And I thought they were really believable twists and turns, which was kind of fun. Like, it wasn't just this stuff thrown at us. So who told us one time, did you tell me that within the first 10-15 minutes of a movie, you get introduced to all these new characters, and, you know, obviously one of them is going to be the killer.
Yeah.
So I think you like made me aware of that. Like, oh yeah, okay, that's always someone that they introduce like within the 10 to 15 minutes. So let's kind of go through and meet some of these, kind of remember the first the couple characters that we met in the first 10 minutes. So first, of course, it was, and I took most of my notes on my phone, so sorry about that. Hopefully that's not annoying to see it on my face. But first, I mean, it obviously opens up with this character. We don't know her name yet. She's pulling into her house late at night. She goes into her house. She takes out this box, and from her suitcase, it's like she just got back from a trip or something. It's kind of scary. You don't know if someone's going to jump out at her, but they don't. And she gets a call from, and it shows the name Thomas. So those are two characters right there. You know, there's Rhonda. It's Rhonda Sharf is what we find out later. And then this Thomas, that she is rejecting this call. So then there's the realtor, Joanna Grimes, who is showing Michelle around, little sister Michelle, around to new houses in the area, or houses on the market, I mean. And then there's Jed Sawyer, who is, I mean, we've never met him before, right? Like, he was a new character.
Yeah, he was a new character, because I guess, he had been, I guess, in prison for the last, I guess, year or 2 years. So
yeah. Okay, so so he's just back from prison, which we kind of don't, people keep saying welcome back, but we don't find out that he was in prison until a little bit into the movie. So he's a plumber, kind of a fix-it man, Jed Sawyer, helping Hannah. Then Alice, his girlfriend. Then a guy named Ken Purvis, who is on the Booster Club president, and he's planning a fundraiser. Ken Purvis. I mean, I'm just sorry about his last name. Purvis is just
it's not a good name.
And there's Ken Purvey. And then Bradford Ramsey, who walks in at the 15-minute mark of the movie. And he is who?
He is, oh gosh, no, I forgot who he is.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah, I did. I'm just blanking on his name.
No, he was the college.
Oh yes, the guy from Chesapeake Shores. Yes.
Totally. I forget his name on Chesapeake Shores, but that was totally, I was like, this is Bree's ex-boyfriend.
Exactly. That's when I saw him, I thought, this guy was with Bree on Chesapeake Shores. And I thought, interesting. Now he's made it to, you know, Eden Lake.
Yeah. And was he a professor on Chesapeake Shores too? Maybe not a professor.
It was something. No, he wasn't an author too.
Maybe an author. Maybe it was an author.
I can't remember if he was a professor or if he was like also an author.
Yeah, I don't remember. So in walks Bree's ex-boyfriend, and he's also Hannah's ex-boyfriend. Kind of. They went on some dates, kind of nothing to talk about. Yeah. That's what she keeps saying. So so those were kind of like our, all of a sudden, like, these are our suspects, you know.
Our new people. Yeah.
Our new group of people. And that was really fun to kind of write down. So all right. We have the unfortunate incident that it's Rhonda who she was killed. She got killed. So the night of her murder, a whole bunch of things are happening, and all of these characters like come into play.
A whole lot of things are happening. Wow. One night in a small town, a lot of things are happening.
I know, I love it. She has like this leaky faucet. So that girlfriend Alice says Jed should come over and fix your leaky faucet. And Rhonda's like, you could tell she doesn't really like Jed, but like he's going to come over anyway, like 5:30.
Yeah.
Then Hannah has like a meeting with Ken Purvis for his fundraiser at 6, but he's a no-show. It's a no-show. That's a bad thing.
Suspicious. Yes.
So totally suspicious. Then later, Michelle and Hannah and Dolores meet Joanna at Rhonda's house to see it because she's selling it. So they walk in later that night and find her in the master bedroom. So then the police come and like all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I really loved the way they found her, actually. Dolores.
Because Dolores found it. It was fun to have like Dolores actually find the body and like, like intrigued and like into the mystery when she's always like, you know,
right.
Now like no, you shouldn't be doing this. This is like not what women or whatever, you know, the stuff.
Yeah.
Not what I want my daughter to be, you know, involved with. And so that was kind of fun. I do like that they, you know, that she was, you know, having
totally. She like leaned in. She was like, we're gonna do this. Every time she was like on the case or something, she wore these like big glasses and she was acting like a detective undercover.
Margaret Niven is so good. She's great.
So good. And honestly, I find her character Dolores to be like delightful. I just she's not annoying to me.
Yeah.
Totally
she plays the character so good that it's like you want to kind of like be annoyed by her, but you're not because you like her because she's funny and she just like, I don't know, she's just like a special character. Yeah,
she is, and there's so much like sister mom family banter that is just really just kind
part
of
this series. Yeah,
I love that. I think it's kind of real. So yes, so they find Rhonda and immediately suspect who? Do you remember?
Well, I know that the ladies or the police?
The police.
The police immediately suspect Jed.
And bless his heart, leaves his wrench with his initials in the house, which end up being the murder weapon.
Yeah.
So of course, you know, all evidence leads there. And I love Mike when Hannah and Mike are like interacting and he's like so policeman about it. And he's like, the evidence, I have to follow the evidence. And she's like following her gut, her instincts, you know?
Like, I know you want to believe that people can change and people can be different. He's like, but he's like, the evidence shows us, you know, he was the one who was there. He, you know, his weapon was, you know, used. So
he kind of had a motive just because she disapproved. She was his girlfriend's boss, and she kind of had shown her disapproval of him. She didn't want them back together after he was in prison, which is a very loose motive. I mean, just someone who just doesn't really like you. But, yeah. So, I mean, Hannah right away is like, no, it wasn't him.
Yeah. She's like, I just don't see why. Yeah, he just got out of prison. Why would he like, you know, why would he do this? That doesn't logically make sense.
It makes sense to her. It makes sense to her. Well, she for sure then her first thought is who?
I know she was really wondering about the takeout, and so she kind of wanted to investigate the whole situation.
So did Dolores get on the takeout because she thought it was like a romantic entanglement.
Yeah.
So Dolores is like, okay, she's dating someone secretly. Who is she dating or something?
Yeah, she totally took the romantic entanglement route and ran with it.
Yeah, she did. And she wasn't wrong. She
Yeah,
wasn't wrong. It was just not Ken Purvis, which, but it was, okay, so Hannah had seen Rhonda in an argument with a guy that Hannah didn't recognize, and Rhonda said it was her brother Thomas. And so Hannah was like, Mike, check out her brother Thomas. Like, they were in a fight, a heated argument. It's a good place to start. And he's like, well, yeah, it's a good place to start. So they kind of look into Thomas later.
Yeah, I kind of was wondering, I was like, oh, are they going to do something really different? Where I was kind of suspicious of, is the guy who came later her real brother?
Right.
And it didn't, but it kind of introduced a different kind of, it was introduced a lot later, but, like, okay, well, did he like do something with that guy? And, now he's just pretending to be the brother so he can, collect money.
Right. And because we had seen her reject a call from Thomas on her cell phone at the opening credits.
Yeah.
It was believable when she told Hannah that the guy she was fighting with was her brother Thomas. That was, I was like, oh, that's believable.
That makes sense because exactly. Because she ignored his call and so
I liked that twist. Actually, that was kind of a cool twist. Like, Hannah didn't know her brother Thomas. She said that guy was her brother. So when he showed up at the funeral and he is a totally different guy, she's like, that's an imposter.
Yeah. I was like, if I was you, I would definitely think that too.
Yeah.
Based on what I had seen and heard and
yeah. So, and Mike's like, no, that's actually her brother Thomas. She's like, okay, then she just remembers this logo and she's like trying to figure out like who this other guy was.
Who's the other guy?
Yeah. Who's this other guy? So something we forgot to say was, what was this, these coins that Rhonda brought back from like her aunt's funeral.
Yeah. She had, I guess, this like unique worth a lot of money coin collection of the aunt, and it was in that this like wooden box, which we later find out, okay, that's what she was in the beginning, that's what she had, and she put in her dresser from the suitcase. But we hear about it a little bit later and we're like, okay, so these coins are worth a lot of money.
These coins but she did not give that impression that they were worth a lot of money when she's just like showing them to Hannah. She's like, this is a special collection to me, I'm really glad to have it. Well, turns out she actually stole it. She took it from her aunt's estate to go like start a new life somewhere else.
Yes, back east.
And so her brother was like on that trail calling her because like they were going to split.
We were supposed to split this.
Split it. So this Thomas he's not really a suspect anymore, but I was suspicious of him really until the very end, actually.
I was too, like when he showed up at the funeral and he was this other guy, I was like, that's weird. But then I was like, he still seems like it could be him. I was like, but we didn't come to like, the second hour of the movie, or maybe right at the second hour or something. But I was kind of really wondering if it was they had just introduced him and then it was like gonna just be him. But
we'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's our friend Jenny Hale. She has a new book coming out called Meet Me at Christmas. From the USA Today bestselling author of the book to TV stories Coming Home for Christmas and Christmas Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses, with over 1 million copies of her books sold, Jenny Hale brings you Meet Me at Christmas. This is a heartwarming holiday read that will have you rushing to your loved ones this Christmas. Traveling researcher Stella Fisher is called home to her family's farmhouse to help her mother through the first Christmas without her father. When Stella arrives, she doesn't expect to find Henry Dutton, the man she left behind. as she could guess after her heartbreaking exit so many years ago, he isn't speaking to her. What she doesn't realize, however, is there's a much bigger reason for his unfriendly reception. She quickly becomes the one person he believes can fix everything, but she isn't sure about that. She thought she'd buried her past, yet the look in his alluring blue eyes brings it all right back to the surface. If you enjoyed the Christmas movies based on Jenny's books and are looking for more feel-good small-town romance, look no further. You can find more about Meet Me at Christmas at it's jennyhale.com, at harpethroad.com, or use the affiliate link below.
So when they were at the funeral, I was like, okay, here's this Thomas guy, and oh no, because it was kind of scary for her to actually go meet him and like confront him and see his face, because he had caught her. Well, not really caught her, but she like snooped in. She went to the house with Andrea and Dolores. And I thought this part was so funny because they were being total snoops in her garbage, like just totally snooping around the garbage, like digging out. I was like, that must be the recycle because it's all papers. I was like, it's not gross.
Yeah.
But still, I just died laughing when Dolores whips out the hand sanitizer. It was like, we need hand sanitizer.
She is just, oh my gosh, she's so funny. Yeah.
It's so funny. And I honestly, like, I loved that part so much because 2 years ago on Hallmark Comics, I did a comic about hand sanitizer, and I put it up on my stories today just because I thought it was so funny. That Dolores, like, finally someone is looking out for the hygiene and the cleanliness of these amateur sleuths who just go around like first of all getting fingerprints everywhere, but second of all, like digging through people's trash. You need to clean your hands after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, she was definitely right to do that.
Yeah. That was so funny. So that was just cracked me up. So they go through the trash. Then she goes back into the house because she remembers the code and is sneaking around. Like, honestly, I thought she was going to look for the coins at that point because she knew about the coins. She knew where they were hidden, but she didn't even, like, the coins really didn't come into play again until the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was really fun when she's like in there and then it's like someone else is in here. And then it's like, we have no idea, that Mike is in there. And so she's trying to like sneak, and then like she gets pulled in, and then it's Mike. And I'm just like, oh, I was so scared. I was like, oh, I'm so glad it's Mike. And then we got some tension there.
Some hot stares and like quiet and some like heavy breathing and like hair,
some eye contact. Yeah, it was.
And he was so steamily protective. He just was like steamy about it, but in like this sweet kind of hot way, but
very sweet, but
really
like a hot protective way.
He was like
that only Cameron can pull off. Yeah, it was good. I was surprised, and then I was like really glad.
I was too. So when they said something like, he said, "Hey, Andrea, thanks for calling me," or something, and then I remembered the scene where Andrea and Dolores see someone pull up to the house, and Dolores texts Hannah, and Andrea gets on her phone, and you think maybe she's going to call Hannah, but I guess she was calling Mike, maybe.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. Oh, okay, that's who she was calling.
Because she never said anything, and Hannah's phone never rang in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I loved that scene. That was so one of those classic Hallmark sneaky scenes and stuff, and jump scare type of scenes. I loved that. But it ended up being Mike who was there to protect her. So he talks Thomas out of, pressing charges against Hannah for breaking and entering into his house, his sister's house.
Yeah.
But she never saw him, never met him, but she did almost get caught by him.
That was he's like, like, tell me before you go places, so that way, like, I can go ahead and be on my way there.
Right. I loved that. I thought that was so cute. So cute. So, okay, I have another pet peeve actually to share about Hallmark movies. Crunchy cookie for sure. It needs to be a soft cookie. Good job. But this, did you notice at the funeral when they have like this memorial picture of Rhonda Sharf? That is a picture from the actress's actual IMDb page.
Oh yeah, they do that a lot.
They
They
do
always
that.
do that. It's like, I guess because it's like they don't have to ask for it. It's like free, so they just get this picture and like put it by someone's bedside table or put it in their funeral picture. Put it, and I'm always like, oh, I've seen that picture before.
Put it on a suspect board. They put it on a suspect board. That's the worst.
Yeah, they always do that. It's like I know I've seen this picture before, like on this person's IMDb.
Yes. And honestly, I saw this like beautiful, amazing glamour shot of the deceased, and I was like, are you kidding me? They did it again. And I looked, and sure enough, here we go. It's right here. This beautiful Kendra Anderson. That is the picture. Can you see
That's it? Yeah.
That was her picture at the funeral.
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that you've noticed stuff like that too, because
yeah. No, they do that a lot.
This is the worst.
It's like, okay, can we get like a better, more like reasonable like picture,
Right. Like actual, like maybe in your character and not as the actor who plays. That's like breaking the fourth wall to me or something.
That's true.
Like,
that's true. Yeah.
That's not Rhonda, that's Kendra. Did Kendra die? No.
Yeah,
she did not.
That's a good pet peeve. I will say that I was slightly let down because everything was going super great. Not like a big letdown, but I was kind of like, okay, you guys told us Andrea is going to be in this movie, and then she was in like 3 scenes in this movie, which is fine, but I kind of thought she would be more involved in the movie. So I was kind of like a little bit like, let down by that, but I was glad that she was there and, she got to do a little bit of sleuthing. Yeah.
I was too, because it wasn't like, at least we know she wasn't estranged, or she didn't like, they're not trying to pass it off like she never existed. She came back, for a couple of days because her husband and her daughter were on a camping trip and stuff. But I kind of agree though with you, because the scenes that we saw in the previews, were like, woohoo, she's back or something. It's like,
it's like, okay, she was in 3 scenes, maybe 4 scenes. It's like, okay,
like a FaceTime at the end.
Yeah, I kind of thought like she would, get there at the very beginning of the movie, and then she would like be there like for like the whole thing. So I think that's in my mind what was there. But but I was glad just to at least have her there. That way it's not like, she doesn't exist,
right,
or anything, and she exists and she's still, okay. And
right. And she's like, this much time has passed, and that, which is kind of crazy that like 7 years. So they're really kind of saying that from the time that, did she have the baby in that one movie years ago? Like Hannah and Mike have been like dating kind of off and on, or kind of engaged for like
that long? Oh gosh, I never realized it was that long. But that's what it would make it seem like. She did have the baby in, I can't remember which movie, but I feel like she did have the baby in one of the movies.
Yeah, was it like it was either the Christmas movie, or our listeners will know. You guys will know. You guys will track this down. Like, did they announce that she was pregnant at the end of the Christmas movie? Or I think they announced her pregnancy at the end of the Christmas movie.
Okay, the plum pudding, yeah.
And they had, because we also saw her in the hospital and she
feel
just
like we
had
did
the baby.
Yeah, I feel like we did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that. So wow, that's been a long time for them then.
That's crazy. Yeah, I
I
never
thought they
realized.
said she was 7.
I think they did. I feel like
Yeah.
they did say she was 7 because I remember being like, "Oh wow, she seemed."
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Kari from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
So okay, so back to the mystery. Did you when well, I gotta say, I was not suspicious of Joanna until Hannah had that confrontation with her, kind of like talked to her about what happened with Jed, like the Jed's work on your kitchen or something.
Yeah. That was the only time when I went back to think. When I finally realized it was her, before Hannah said it was her, I was like, yeah, she was kind of acting a little bit weird. And I was like, that's the only thing I can, that when she went to her car and she was, putting that stuff in her trunk and she
Yeah.
was talking to her, I'm like, she seemed a little bit like something was off.
Yeah, I thought so too. Now, what I really appreciated about this storyline, and whether it's the book is like this or the authors just did the movie like this, I'm not exactly sure because I don't read the books, but I appreciate about this storyline for the movie is that each of the suspects were like, they really were suspicious. They were suspicious kind of people because suspicious things were happening in their lives. And so there was reason for people to like suspect them and not just circumstantial, I guess. Like Jed was the most circumstantial because he had been in prison.
Yeah.
He had been there. His
to fix the
his wrench was there. I mean, it just kind of felt like, well, he's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the other people like Ken Purvis say, like he was kind of shifty, kind of shady, but he wasn't the murderer, but he was embezzling money from the Booster Club.
Money, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Rhonda was onto it. And so it actually gave him motive. Maybe he could have been the murderer, but like he was shifty for a reason because he was doing something shifty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that they did have like the suspects were a lot better because like you said, it's like it actually was like, okay, I can see why they would do this, or there's a reason,
Yeah.
that they do this. And so it made it a lot more like, okay, well, which person is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Thomas actually, he was supposed to split the coin millions with his sister and she ran off with him. So maybe actually he did have motive too. And, all of that. So when I thought that Joanna, I was like, she is involved somehow. I just don't know how. I really was appreciative that it was like, oh my gosh, it's something to do with the like the calendar. It's something to do with the houses being on the market for a long time, or it's something, like she's just.
When Michelle was like, but wait, there was only 20-minute window when the calendar could have been changed. I was like, okay, it has to be Rhonda. My mind was like, okay, it has to be her. And then I was like, okay, she was acting shady a little bit in that car interaction. And then I was like, okay, I'm pretty certain she's the only one who could have,
totally.
it off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that like this story actually brought me along to discover, because they did those like zoom in on certain things that you're like, oh, when's that going to come back into play? Like the key lock code.
Even Jed's wrench, when he was holding that thing, it made clear few of the initials on there.
Yeah, or the how the restaurant put the initials of the food of the dish on the thing, and it's like, oh, I EP for eggplant parmesan, and then like later it was OB for acebogo, like just little things where you kind of go, oh, that was clever.
Hey,
Oh,
they
that
want
was
us to pay
clever.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me like of a classic kind of old school, and we're not trying to get too smart, too crazy with like our mystery here, which just kind of like a simple whodunit. You know, there's all these reasons why and whodunit, but what the second time I watched it, and I totally noticed that they kept showing the calendar. All the times they showed the calendar.
Really? Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
they totally like gave the viewer a chance to
They're
maybe
like,
notice.
every time we're like showing you.
Yeah, they were like, by the calendar, and she's by the fridge, and then she like points to the calendar, she looks at the photos, and like so
It's
many
crazy.
times.
Like mysteries, when you watch it like back, you can see so many. Wow, that's
So
great.
many things. Yeah, so many things. So yeah, so it kind of wrapped up in a nice way with the well, not a nice way, but an exciting way with Thomas, you know, like pulling his gun on Joanna and finding out, you know, that she was a friend. She even spoke at the funeral, but she was gonna take some of these coins, and you know,
The market was not doing well.
no, she's not doing well, and couldn't pay Jed for his work. That was really interesting. That, you know, kind of how the 2 and 2 that Hannah put together there and stuff. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. She definitely was, you know, kind of herself a shifty character, just the stealing from her friend and then killing her over it.
Yeah.
And then just being just like happy the whole rest of the movie, and just kind of like not even breaking.
Yeah, just like totally just going on like everything's normal.
Everything's normal. Oh my gosh. So it was good.
It was. And I do want to shout out to the one moment that was I think it must have been Cameron. He must have been filming. I think he was filming this maybe. He was maybe filming this when he did the interview with Rachel, because when she asked him like the question about his favorite dessert, which we all know Cameron is a very healthy person, probably one of the most healthy people on the planet. Which compliment to him. His favorite dessert, he said, was peanut butter cookies, and he said in the movie I'm filming, I get to eat a peanut butter cookie. And so when it came up and Michelle brought this up to the station, it's like, oh, she put a peanut butter cookie in here for you, and I was like, oh, this is a movie. You get to eat a peanut butter cookie. That's a little fun tidbit that he really likes peanut butter cookies, and he got to eat it in this movie.
You got to eat one. Oh, I love that. Well, even at the end when she like has him be her taste tester, you know, for this new recipe she's trying, that thought ran through my mind. I'm like, he's a pretty healthy guy. Like, I wonder what he's actually eating there. Like, is he indulging?
I always think that, like, if him and Andrew were like eating like Christmas, you know, some sweet thing, I'm like, they're probably just dying because like most unhealthy thing they ate all year.
Right.
In this scene, filming this.
Oh, you mean Andrew Walker?
Yeah. He's also very, very healthy, clean
eater. And how many takes of those?
Gosh, yeah, they just get, I'm sure, like major sugar rush because they don't.
Boy. Or that's so funny. Well, I did think it was really precious, just a couple of the honest conversations that they had, and just helpful for us as viewers to like see them process in a few sentences so that we can emotionally move on again. We can be like, they're having a second chance, we're gonna give them a second chance too.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, because I think Mike was right. I know one of the things he said to her was, "I should have told you how much pressure, the captain was putting on me,
Yes.
like, and I didn't do that."
Yeah.
And he was, kind of trying to share with her and like help her, just see, what he was experiencing that he hadn't said,
Yeah.
during when that
Yeah.
was happening. So
Totally. And even on a smaller degree, it was kind of cute how, this old college like flame or whatever. He said flame, but she said he wasn't a flame. But this old like boyfriend came into town. Other people had told him about this guy's presence, but she didn't. And then she said something about like, "Oh yeah, a customer recognized this logo." And he was like, "A customer, huh?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so he said they got to it that it was this Bradford guy. And he was like, "Sounds like you are, you know, choosing to withhold information from me." And that, she's like, "But it's not important." And he was like, "Okay." Just kind of like see how easy,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but he didn't like he didn't really push in and make her feel bad about it. He just kind of mentioned it and was
Mhm,
like, she said, "There's nothing there." And he's like, "Oh, good, I'm glad. I'm glad
mhm.
there's nothing there."
And also, the captain made sure to mention how he was sad because there was missing missing sweets from the beside the coffee at the place.
Yeah,
Police.
you ruined a good thing there, buddy. You're
Yeah, we
sweet.
had all these free, these free pastries and sweets all the time, but now we're in a drought.
Yeah, it was really sweet because he's like everyone in the police station was wondering when she was gonna forgive him or something.
Yeah, yeah. Because they're like, we're being withheld from having sweets.
Right. And then at the end when he walks into the cookie jar, probably for the first time in as many months as they've been on a break, people like got really still and like everybody was like watching their interaction. And he finally says, "I miss you. I miss you." And
I
oh
thought it was a perfect way to end it.
yeah,
Like have him come into her turf, into a place we've seen him many times.
yeah,
Just be like, I miss you, I miss you,
yeah,
and just kind of have it there. So I thought that was like a great way to
yeah,
end it.
yeah.
And he showed she showed him a picture of Moisha enjoying her like cat tower that at the very end scene he gave last time. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to bring that back, which we saw her wanting to send a picture to him earlier in the movie and she didn't.
Yes.
But when they kind of felt more comfortable with each other at the end, then she showed him the picture.
I thought that was so sweet. And they laughed and they chuckled over it together and they just were us. Like they said, they just want a second chance, fresh start to be us. And I thought that was great because that's why we love this show so much and this series. I guess we can call it a series now, because it's really, really genuine. I think the Hannah is who she is. She is a baker and she does that well. She's a sleuth and she's so smart and she's so quick and she's brave and she just like gets that job done. And then here you have Mike who comes in as really a partner. He's the police side of it, but he's a partner to her sleuthing. And
Yeah.
when he's on board with her and when they're acting as a team, I mean, they are dynamite.
Yeah, they really are. Like I remember Hannah saying like, "Oh, well, it's probably nothing." He's like, "If it's got your whatever attention,
Alarm bells.
probably yeah, if it's got your alarm bells going." He's like, "It's probably something. What are you thinking?"
Yes.
And it's like, yeah, they're a really great team
Yeah.
and they just have to, just communicate with each other,
Yeah.
better, just openly so they can.
So they're gonna try to be more honest and do more communication. But I loved when he just knows her so well, and even after being broken up and stuff, but she comes into the police station, he says, "Oh, there, it's good to see you here." And he said everyone around here is taking this as a good sign, that maybe they're back together. And he said, "But I know why you're really here." And she goes, she goes, "His fingerprints weren't even on the bench." And he was like,
She cannot help herself. She
"There you
cannot.
go."
But I thought that was really cute how he said that. He's like, "Oh, you're in here. Okay." He's
Uh-huh.
like, "Everyone thinks you're here to see me, but I know."
Yeah, I know why you're really here.
You cannot resist. Yeah.
Just nothing like a nice murder to break the ice here in this.
Only in this series, yes. A nice murder to
Yeah,
back together with your boyfriend. I'm like, did nobody die for 3 months in this town where people die all the time?
only in Lake Eden
Yeah.
do we have just this.
Small town of like 300 people where people just get, yeah, murdered a
Murdered all
lot.
the time. So safe. So wonderful. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this was such a fun one. This was a really good one. Makes me just like I'm on track with the pace of it. I really like the pace of it. And because there
And
was a time when we were like, oh, are they gonna plan their wedding? Are they supposed to be planning their wedding? And
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. No,
I'm glad that I feel like we transitioned really well. And so I look forward to the next one and seeing
yeah.
what they do with that. So
Any news on that at all? Any
they haven't released any information yet, and I haven't seen anything about one filming yet, but
okay,
hopefully
okay.
next few
Well,
months.
this was a great one. It's worth a watch, worth a rewatch even because it's really fun to kind of notice certain things that I hadn't noticed before. Like the calendar. And so let us know what you guys think. Those who are listening here, I'm assuming you've watched it. Hopefully you have watched it. If not, it's still worth a listen. Just to piece all the things together that we've so maybe sloppily covered in our recap here as we just kind of go over the highlights and especially the romance. But yes, so fun. And I always enjoy doing this with you.
Me
Uh,
too.
Thanks. Where can people find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at awscott21.
Okay, real quick though about Twitter. Um, even though you don't watch When Calls the Heart, do you jump in on the Twitter stuff of When Calls the Heart?
I don't. I just observe the Hardys on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I just kind of read and then I kind of figure out, oh, this must be going on in the show because I keep seeing tweets about stuff.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it's right now there's a lot out there. So my mom does watch it. So
Oh, okay. Well, I hope Hannah Swensen got a little Twitter love, or I wonder if people were just up in arms about When Calls the Heart. But
yeah, it rated really well in the ratings, the Hannah
okay,
Swanson.
good.
So that's good. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, I love that. Well, you guys can always come over to Hallmark Comics on Instagram and interact with me there. I'm not posting much, but I do still like to keep up with all the Hallmark news and especially the Hallmarkies podcast. Thanks for watching, listening to this. You can find Hallmarkies podcasts and interviews and recaps and other fun stuff that we've been doing since the writer strike. All over or anywhere you find podcasts. And like and subscribe. That would be awesome. Otherwise, we love your comments. We love hearing from you. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.